we have to talk about Manchester United again because their managerial issues, the poor play, and then really if Ten Hag is not the guy, who walks into this situation and feels like, hey, I could turn this around? Because the manager after manager, it seems like they've tried different ideas, different philosophies, different playing styles, and we get the same exact result. So it sort of suggests that maybe there's an institutional sort of problem, but when it comes to who the coach is, we have to talk about some potential people that we think could actually contribute something positive. So I'll go first. My first thought, a guy who's been out of a job for a little bit, was the former Brighton manager, former Chelsea manager, Graham Potter. It feels like it's the safe choice, a manager with a decent record, especially at Brighton. Chelsea, I just don't even put Chelsea on the resume for Graham Potter. It sort of feels like if you were a manager and Chelsea is on, and you're not Jose Mourinho, and Chelsea is on your resume in your LinkedIn, just delete it because it just feels like a blemish. They're like, oh my goodness, or maybe people will feel sympathy
change the interview
for
answer
you.
to I went hiking for a couple months to find myself.
It was what's this gap in your resume, sir?
Yeah, what's the story you're telling?
I was managing Chelsea Football Club. Apologies. So that's my thought. It feels like a reliable choice and not too risky. What do you think?
So the thing that scares me about Man U, because you talked about how chaotic the infrastructure is, and clearly there's more than just the manager at fault, is that Graham Potter struggled with that at Chelsea. And he feels a bit more like a fine-tuned machine of like, Brighton was working, it made sense, and it was on the tracks, and he could run that and maybe even elevate it. But then when you throw a bunch of sand in the machine at Chelsea, he falls apart. And I look at Zidane being the obvious name as the one out there who everything about Real Madrid is throwing stuff at the machine. And I don't think the players at Man U are at the level for him to not be super tactical and just keep everything on the tracks, and that's enough. But I think you need someone strong enough to deal with all of the other stuff that goes on. And the hope is under the new ownership at Man U, that process and infrastructure and scouting and all of that will start to be built outside of the manager. And Zidane is someone I think who can keep the players focused on what has to happen and what they should be focused on and keep out a lot of that outside noise.
Yeah, it's interesting that the skill set for the Manchester United manager has to be almost stronger in the other aspects of like handling media, handling just interpersonal relationships at the club and stuff like that. And Zidane, interesting. I was at a press conference. Were you in this room when Real Madrid played the MLS All-Stars in 2018? I think I was at that press. It was him and Tony Cruz. And so I got to be in the room with Zidane, which is a thing I never thought I would ever really say. But there's a now that I think about it, there was a confidence and a poise to him. Not that he's going to be intimidated by all the SB Nation journalists that were in that room. With all due respect, great work. I love SB Nation, but there was something to the way he carried himself that he wasn't interested or impressed by any of this, and so I think that is a valid point. Again, would he do it? I mean, it'd be, I don't know, one of the coolest stories in football if that was the case. As far as drama and the soap opera that is Manchester United, I'd love to see it. But I guess I feel like they need some stability. Maybe Graham Potter could bring that, maybe he can't. But a wild time for this club for sure.
With what's going on at Man U after the first training session that was rescheduled so Graham Potter could have everyone do a theater class and sort of learn how to express themselves in different ways. You better believe the core of the earth will not be hotter than the energy around Man U. Like, I believe in all the stuff Graham Potter believes in. He's the coach I would want. I don't know if that club is ready for that.
I love it. Yeah, I just saw a story that they built a wall to so they could block anybody viewing their training grounds. which is that's the priorities right now.
Yeah, because people really need to know what you're practicing, because that's the real fear right now for the 14th best team in the league.
Bro, I'll just watch the game you played against Brighton or whatever. So shout out to everybody watching on OneFootball. Just go subscribe to the Cooligans if you want more content like this, bro. You know how it is. Hit the smash like and subscribe. Do all the things you're supposed to do here on YouTube. Thank you again.